Welcome to the Sage Pastel Accounting how-to video. In this video, we will demonstrate how to create customer accounts in Sage Pastel Accounting. Firstly, open your Sage Pastel Accounting program and open your company in the Sage Pastel Accounting program. Next, click on Edit, Customer Accounts, and the Edit Customer Account screen will display. You will be asked to enter an account code and description before you can continue entering any of the other details. The account code can be a maximum of 6 characters. It can contain only letters, only numbers, or letters and numbers. It cannot, however, contain special characters like hash, exclamation, or @. Once you have entered your account code, next enter your description. Again, this can contain letters, or numbers, or letters and numbers. Again, please do not use special characters like hash, exclamation, or @. Once you have entered your account code and description, click on the Details tab, and here you can enter the postal address for your customer, the delivery address where the goods will be delivered to, as well as the contact person's name, telephone number, fax number, mobile number, email address, and if you make use of sales codes, you can also link the sales code to the specific customer. Once you have entered all of the details, click on the Processing tab. If you're using Sage Pastel Partner and you have purchased the multi-currency add-on module, you will be able to select a currency code. If, however, you are using Sage Pastel Express or you have not purchased the multi-currency add-on module, this option will either not display or will be grayed out. Next, you will need to select your processing method. Here you can choose between Open Item or Balance Forward. Open Item allows you to match the receipts to specific invoices, whereas Balance Forward will take the total of the receipt off of the total amount the customer owes you. Next, you can select what tax type to use when processing. Do you want to work in exclusive values for this customer or inclusive values? You can also choose the option to have no tax type default, to default a specific tax type, or to force a tax type. If you have no tax type default, or even if you default a specific tax type, when processing, you will still be able to choose between the other tax types you have set up. However, if you force a tax type, this will be the only tax type you will be able to use for this customer. Make your selection and then look at the Electronic Documents option. If you tick this option, this means that your customer accepts electronic documents, which means that you can email your customer's statements and invoices through to them, and SARS will see this as a valid tax invoice. If you select this option, you will then need to choose what to do with your documents and statements. Do you wish to print the documents, email the documents, or print and email the documents? The same goes for your statements. You will notice that there will also be a contact and an email option under your documents and your statements. This is because the contact person where you send the tax invoices and the contact person who receives the statements may not necessarily be the same person, and they may also differ from the contact person on the details. You can then change these options accordingly. Once you have filled in all the options on the Processing tab, you can now click on the Terms tab. The Terms tab are the terms that you have given your customer to the time frame that they have to pay you. Are their terms monthly terms or day-based terms? If monthly terms, have you told them that they need to be on current terms, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or 120 days? If you select day-based terms, where you see normal terms, you will need to click on the magnifying glass and next click on Modify. Here you can set up the day-based terms you have given your customer. For example, 7 days from the date of invoice, and click on OK. You can then select this option, and these will be the terms that will display for this customer. Early terms are when you give your customer a discount for paying you before their terms. So if this customer were to be on monthly terms, for example, and they were on current terms, if you wish to set up early terms, again you would click on the magnifying glass and click on Modify. You can now select a discount percentage that you will give this customer if they pay you before their terms. For example, 2.5%, 7 days from the date of invoice. If this customer then pays you within 7 days from the date of the invoice, you will give them a 2.5% discount on the total they owe you. Next, you have your interest charged from. If you plan on charging interest on customers who do not honor their terms, you will then set this up here, where you can go one period after terms, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or 120 days. Once you have set up the interest, you can then charge interest when the clients default on their terms. If you use inventory, you can also link specific price lists to specific customers. You would click the drop-down and select the relevant price list. Express will only show 3 price lists, whereas Partner will display 10. You can also give the customer an invoice discount. For example, 2.5% invoice discount on every invoice that you process for this customer. Once you have filled in all of the information, you can then click on your user-defined fields. Your user-defined fields are used for fields that do not display in the details processing or terms. You can set them up here and then enter them accordingly. For example, you may need to enter their medical aid number if you are a medical practitioner, or you may wish to enter their date of birth or the date of creation of the account. Next, you have your balances. Your balances will show the sales this year versus the sales last year, and the balance this year versus the balance last year. Your notes are if you have created any notes in Pastel, and they will display here with the status, entry date, action date, subject, and linked file. Once you have filled in your details, processing terms, and if you need to create any user-defined fields, the user-defined fields, you can click on Save. You have now created your first customer. You will need to do this for each and every customer.